sees their little game plan and is going to expose it, and immediately, he is arrested. So there's a variety of factors here. There's the theft by Mr. Fairfax of $45,000 in silver that he wants to cover up. He goes to his cousins who are connected to the ADL and the SPLC, and suddenly, the moment that Edgar Steele is arrested, the news media plays a statement in the face of Mark Potok of the SPLC explaining what a bad guy Edgar Steele is. Now, why would a Southern organization suddenly come to Pacific Northwest and have all this knowledge, except that they had targeted Ed Steele and they were right in the thick and the middle of it? Undoubtedly, they were directing the FBI as to how to conduct this case.
They do that. They feed the information. The FBI in Phoenix released a booklet on me while I was still in New Mexico called Guide to Right-Wing Extremists, and I made the governor aware of that. He had the booklet recalled. Now, you said the government was immune from this. They passed all the laws, but what about the ADL and SPLC? They've been accused and found guilty of spying on Americans before. The slander they've made against me and Edgar Steele is public record. And how do they get away with that? What happened to the laws against slander and libel?
Well, when you've got a $100 million war chest that the SPLC has, and you have world-famous movie stars contributing and coming to your annual banquets and so on, that they have so much money that they're the unassailable fortress. And a lawsuit can be brought against them, but it takes a war chest on the other side to make that happen. And I don't think we want to talk about the civil lawsuit aspect of this. It's very tempting, but the real issue here is we need to raise some money for the Edgar Steele Defense Fund, and the only way to do it is for people to realize that they're next. That if they don't help Edgar defend himself and help us expose this fraud by the government and these preemptive prosecutions, then it won't be long before they'll be coming to their door. You know, this Van Jones, who was in the White House, he made a proclamation that 1/3 of the U.S. population needs to be eliminated. And what does it take for people to realize that they are at risk? And $10. If every one of your listeners today was to contribute $10 to this cause, that we could be well on our way to hiring this attorney. But we've worked very hard. We've been able to raise about 10% of the money that's needed. But unfortunately, everybody who's contributed so far is tapped out, and we're looking for a small contribution from everybody, which will help us make the goal.
All right, we've got the. I've got the information that you sent me about Cindy. About this interview up on my website, and
let me give it. Please let me give it over the air. It's free-Edgar-Steele STEELE.com. If they'll simply go to that website, they can read up on this case, but they can also find the button that takes them to PayPal and allows them to contribute. And if everybody would contribute, actually, if they throw $12 into that contribution, because PayPal takes a haircut off of each contribution, and so to get $10 into the defense fund, they have to contribute $12. But the bottom line is, it really, I don't think there's anybody in this country today that can't afford $10 to try and protect their own future.
Congress is not, yes, it is it is my personal fight to gain my husband's freedom because he's innocent. But this is a fight for all of us because they've gone after other people like Kingston and many others before him, and they're going to continue going after more.
Give me
a stop to it and make it harder for them to unjustly charge people.
Give me that website again, and I'll put it up on the chat room here. Free-Edgar-Steele dash.
No, just free-Edgar-Steele with an E.com.
Okay.
And don't forget the www dot in front of it.
If you go to that website, it has a lot of the information about this case because there is so much to this case. I mean, there's so many aspects to this case. The lies that they have told, the fact that they're going to give this Larry Fairfax a soft plea deal. He's going to be out within less than a year, even though he attempted to murder me with a weapon of mass destruction.
Now, why? Go ahead.
Let me speak to the legal aspect of that, and what's happened is that the government's been very tricky in this case. They did not bring Larry Fairfax under the indictment of a grand jury. They filed what's called a prosecutor's information. They filed a complaint against him, and in the complaint they named only two charges: the possession and manufacturing of an illegal firearm, both of which carry a 10-year sentence, but they're both minor offenses, and with no prior federal offenses, this Mr. Fairfax would be entitled to as little as an 18-month sentence, and he's already served 6 months, so therefore the man, when he's convicted of these charges, will spend maybe at the maximum a year in jail. Now why? Why is that significant? Because he is the confidential informant. He's the fall guy for the government. The government actually had information that they knew about the bomb before CyndieSteele was driving around the country. But they are pretending that they didn't know, and this is called plausible deniability. They give Mr. Fairfax a soft plea deal. They let him off the hook. Then he comes to court in Edgar Steele's case and says, "Oh well, I'm sorry. I'm the one. I'm the fall guy. Blame me." The FBI knew that this bomb was under her car, and they could have stopped her from not only putting herself at risk, but can you imagine this car passing through communities, past a school, neighborhoods, in a business community, in a downtown area with pedestrians? And if it went off, it would have killed a lot of people. It's a weapon of mass destruction, and the government's just completely ignoring it. Why? Because it's a part of one of their plots. They don't recognize their own plots as terrorism. It's state-supported terrorism, but they won't recognize it, and they won't do anything about it.
You know, the people have the tendency to say it can't happen here. Well, it can't happen to me. I'm not an extremist. I'm not a radical. I'm not this or that. But you'd think that with the actions of TSA fondling your grandmothers, your wives, and your children, that people would be waking up to the type of tyranny that is growing here, and that your husband's case is an absolute showcase event.
Well, let me just tell you, this TSA business, they're grooming these TSA people to be the prison guards at the 800 some odd prison camps that have been built by FEMA over the last 10 years. They're all over the country on decommissioned military bases, on old places where they repair trains, with warehouses. They've gone in and refurbished the places, put in all kinds of prison bars and control mechanisms and concrete floors, and there are even signs in alleys where people would walk, and there's signage indicating where people should stand to be loaded onto trains and so on. I mean, we're talking about Nazi concentration camps already built in America. Now, who's going to occupy these camps, Clay?
I don't believe it's going to be the illegals. There's 30 million of them here, and not one of them have been picked up by ICE.
Yeah, and also, did you know that the American prison industry is supported by